these civilizations have been competing with each other in our solar system and on this planet for at least 270 million years. And when I said, what is the proof? He said, Linda, if I told you, it would be too dangerous for you and for me. It's one of the most intriguing answers to a question in my entire professional career. I don't have an answer. Why would it be dangerous to know the proof of competing extraterrestrial civilizations on our planet and in the solar system for at least 270 million years? I've thought a lot about that.
So, I mean, many astronauts have come back with stories of what happened in space, on the moon even.
Yes. Go back to around 1990, and I was hired by producers at Paramount in Los Angeles to create a special from work that I had done for CNN and for a Fox station in Atlanta when I was working for CNN. And my goal was to put in a nonfiction form for television about animal mutilations, human abductions, all of it, as layers of evolutionary processes related to alien intelligences working on the Earth. And that's what I was hired then to do as an hour special. And one of the segments that I really, really wanted to do was to talk with the astronauts who had been on the moon or had orbited the moon, and had they seen UFOs or anything, because I had been told that the moon was hollow, that the moon had computers on the inside, that for literally millions of years it has been a machine that orbits our Earth, and that non-humans, through computers and through androids and clones and all kinds of artificial intelligence, there are monitoring systems of our planet. They do laboratory experiments, they interact, and that the moon as a machine is the device in which all of this monitoring is done. So I got to talk with Pete McDivitt about a very strange thing that he saw. Talked to Edgar Mitchell, talked with just a variety of different astronauts who had all seen strange things. The top of my list was Neil Armstrong, the first human to put their feet on the moon. All the other astronauts were easy. Just started doing a search, got phone numbers, called them up, took a crew, went out, talked to them. Nobody could get a phone number for Neil Armstrong. And as the senior producer and the person who was creating this series, and I had done so much work in the planet, and I had done medical programming and all, and I never had a problem. Why? I mean, he's world famous. He goes down in the history of the universe as the first man to step on the moon. And I'm working for Paramount to get a series on Fox, and I can't get a phone number to talk with him about the going to the moon. What is this about? Finally, I got a reference to a man who, in their teenage to early 20 years, they were the best friends, Neil Armstrong, and we'll just call this man John Smith. John Smith and Neil Armstrong were like this. They did jet training together. So I'm given his phone number to call up to learn what happened to Neil Armstrong. I'll never forget this dinner. I called up this man, told him what I was doing, working on this Fox special. He said, I can't talk to you on the phone. Let's meet for dinner. And here's the story. He said, like you, I watched Neil in that ticker tape parade in New York. First man in history to put his feet on the moon. And I remember all the days that Neil and I were learning this jet and we were the closest of friends, and I called him up. And it was soon after that ticker tape, I said, Neil, and like two buddies from 18 to 21, 22 years old, can you imagine making a phone call like that? And Neil Armstrong has no reaction. And he said, it wasn't like I was talking to my old buddy at all. It's like, what is wrong here? And Neil Armstrong said to John Smith, let's not go out. You just come over to my house. He said he got there. Hardly any lights in the house. He rings the doorbell. His old buddy, Neil Armstrong, opens the door. I mean, you would think there would be, oh man! He said he was even looking at the floor. Neil Armstrong takes him into a living room. He said there was only one light on. Neil Armstrong sat down on a sofa. John Smith sat in a chair. He said, Neil, what is wrong? And he said, Neil Armstrong didn't even look at him eye to eye, is looking down at the floor when he says, you know, when the LEM was coming down and all that dust came up and NASA Mission Control said that they'd seen some rocks and they were having to turn right at the last minute so that they wouldn't hit the rocks. There were 3 huge silver craft right at the edge of the crater, and the camera was aimed, and we would have shown the entire world these 3 big silver craft. And that's why I turned. And then the whole evening, John Smith said, I thought I would be there for like dinner like the old days. And he said it was short. He clearly, Linda, he said, you know somebody so well. And he gave me that one insight about the truth. And he gets back and he's in New York City with a huge ticker tape parade, and he's had probably to sign non-disclosure agreements. You never talk about this. You never, ever. Would you want to go out into the world and look in people's eyes and be asked to sign autographs and be on television knowing that every single word that you were saying was a lie? After you were being put up as a hero, the first man to walk on the moon, and behind you is NASA and the CIA and the NSA saying you can never talk about the alien presence on the moon. And that's what I learned producing UFO report sightings in Los Angeles in the early 90s. And that our special aired, I think it was October of, maybe it was October of 91. I keep thinking of 90 because I think I had been working at Fox then. So I think it was October of 91. October 18th, 1991. It just popped in. That's the night. What was behind that special with the astronauts. Even Pete McDivitt had a Hasselblad. This strange cylindrical thing comes up outside of the window of their spacecraft. He said, I took 35 photographs with a Hasselblad, highest resolution instrument you could possibly take. He said, I knew we got good photographs. I knew it was close. When they come back, everything, cameras, everything goes to various places in NASA. And he wanted to see his photos. And he went over to one of the photo labs when everything was cleared and he could. Said, I want to see my photos. And he said, the guy behind the desk said, sir, I'm sorry. They're classified. And he said, well, I'm the astronaut who took the photographs. And the NASA man went away and came back, like he went to ask somebody, and came back and said, sir, you don't have a need to know.
If you enjoyed this, make sure to watch the next video on Awaken Zone. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell, but you won't want to miss what's coming next.